All right, everyone, welcome to another edition of What's What BR. We have a very busy man, very special guest for us today. We have Edgardo Tenreiro. Knew I was going to kind of mess it up a little bit there. I'll
The
let you
first time
fix it.
was perfect. The
Was
first
it?
time you said it just right. Yes.
There we go. So, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Thank you. And thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you for coming on. It takes a little bit to get things coordinated and get you on there. So, for anybody who doesn't know, you are the CEO over at the Baton Rouge General. So, you've been kind of a laid back year or two, a little bit
Yeah,
not as busy.
sure. Yeah.
So, no, in all fairness, appreciate everything you guys have done for the community and just imagining all the craziness that's going on. But I think we're beyond a lot of that, today. So I wanted to just kind of get you to come on and just, first, I kind of, especially somebody in your position, always had, kind of what's the day in the life, running these days, kind of what's it look like? Is it, if you're anything like me, I tell people during the day, I'm a fireman and I put out fires, and at night, I run a company. So that's kind of the way I look at it. So how are
So
things?
no, I mean, day to day, I love my job. I love working in the hospital industry, and particularly at Baton Rouge General. I've been the CEO for 5 years now, and prior to that, I was a chief operating officer for about 6, 7 years. And what I love about my job is the fact that you never know what's going to be the sort of the flavor of the day. You have all these long term goals, but day to day, you got to pivot and move around depending on what's happening. I love the fact that I have a great team, and that putting a team together and focus the team on a goal is what I do every day. And maybe after a year or two or three, you're beginning to see the fruits of all that labor, and that's what's exciting. So there's a long period of waiting for this to happen, almost like agriculture. You plant, and you hope, and then eventually when it comes to fruition, and you reap the benefits, and the patients and the community reaps the benefits, then that's what gives me great satisfaction. So I tell people that it's also crazy, and precisely because you don't know what day to day what it is that you're going to be doing. And so I wake up every morning excited about coming to work.
That's no, I can see it. It's got to be exciting because it's got to be every day. It's got to be a little bit different. I know in my line of work and what we do here, it's a little bit different, and I've got some other companies as well. But I generally will look at the calendar, for at night and see, what do I have going on tomorrow, and then like I can feel it in the morning, like it just the energy starts to move, and it's like it's not going to play out this way. I can feel it already. I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Things are going to change, and we're going to have to shift.
Yeah, and it's a little bit like, it's not as exciting as being a conductor of an orchestra, but it's similar, because if your violinist or your bass player are just not on that day, it's not going to be a good day, right? No matter how good you are as a conductor, you're relying on the whole team to be at their best, and so that I think that's what's exciting about my job. And I think if you talk to any hospital administrator, they would tell you the same thing. So happy to be here, happy to serve the community.
Absolutely. I've affectionately started calling it in the middle of the last year. I call it that I juggle water,
Yeah,
throughout the day.
exactly. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so tell me, you guys have got, a number of campuses here through the Baton Rouge area. You've got a lot, going on. It's everybody I think knows, Mid City, Bluebonnet, those areas, different things. But there's some real special things happening down Mid City, from what I
Yes.
understand. So,
Yes, and so I think campuses. We also, by the way, in the middle of COVID, opened up a micro hospital in Ascension. That's a 10-bed inpatient facility with an emergency room and outpatient diagnostics and physicians and so forth. So COVID brought the best out in us, even though we were facing a crisis, and we're facing things that were really, really negative. That's when a team like the General gets to work, and when we show what we're made of. And indeed, that's what we did at Mid City. That emergency room and the acute care part of the hospital had been closed for 5 years. And in a matter of a couple of weeks, we reopened all of that at the request of the governor to be a surge facility for the needs of the region. But again, in a post-COVID world, now we have an active hospital, an emergency room that we didn't have before. And I do think that Mid City is an essential component, not just of our hospital, but really an essential component of I think that I call it the healing process that needs to happen in this town, in this north versus south divide. And we're right at the epicenter of that divide, and that's Florida Street. So our goal there is to have a revitalized Mid-City Hospital and Mid-City Hospital campus, along with the efforts that the mayor has put forth with Move BR. There will be a lot of investment to be done in that corridor in terms of infrastructure, and we want to lead by example, not simply waiting for the mayor to do the investments that this Move BR project is going to bring to Florida, but also put our money where our mouth is in doing some things at Mid City that are going to turn that area into really a destination and something that all of the people who live in Baton Rouge would be proud of. And so that's a goal. And obviously, we have a lot of clinical activity happening there now that didn't happen before with the emergency room and the acute care facility. And so we're committed to that area of town. I call it, that's a downtown hospital, that's a North Baton Rouge hospital, that's a Mid-City hospital. That is the only hospital in that area. So our board made a commitment to this, decades ago, and we're here simply continuing that commitment that our board made. And I think that if we're successful, and I think we are, and we will be, then I think that will be, I think a healing point for this community that has seen so much division over the last several years. But the people of Baton Rouge are resilient. When we face a crisis, we work together. And I could just remind people of the Great Flood of 2016 and how we came together. We had recent floods again, and simply we want to be part of that movement. And I think that what we are doing at Mid City is going to be a testament to that kind of resiliency that we have as a city and as a parish. And so I'm excited about the work that we're doing there.
No, I think I spoke with somebody not too long ago, was talking to them. They mentioned, kind of the North Baton Rouge, the South Baton Rouge. And they were like, what do we need to do? And I was like, why don't we just stop calling it North Baton Rouge and South Baton Rouge? Why don't we just call it Baton Rouge? And why don't we just fix our city? Because it's all of our city. What do we need to do? That's
exactly.
I think that's one of the first steps, there, because then if you eliminate that, then you're just talking about fixing the city, not which part of the city. And it's like, where does the work need to be done? And so it sounds like y'all are right after that.
It's that, but it's also, in addition to that, it takes private initiative. Really, it's a partnership, right? We all got to do our part. And I'm simply saying that we're doing our part. We know that a hospital is needed in that area. And we know that we have to make certain changes to make sure that everybody knows that we're there for everybody. And so that's what's exciting about the project. And just in a nutshell, what we're going to do is we're going to turn the front parking lot of the hospital into a common green space for the whole community. We're tearing down the fences. We're tearing away the pavement, and we're going to make it into a green space. And we hope to have activities there for not only for the patients and visitors, but also for the community. We do a lot of that at Bluebonnet. For instance, we have the Christmas lights during Christmas, but we don't have a place to do that at Mid City. And now we will have a place with that project that we're about to start in the next few months.
Wow, and that's a cost of, it's not a cheap project or undertaking to do. So we appreciate that, from the community perspective. I was speaking with earlier today. We had, these are recorded, the shows I had Mayor Broom on, and she was talking about a number of things. And you mentioned it takes private, business. We can't wait for. That's one of the things I was talking with her about is we have to take, we can say, governments here or city officials here, but we have to take some initiative, I think, on our own and just say, it's my city. I'm going to do it. You can't wait for somebody else to come and do it. You've got to, like you said, if by just tearing down a parking lot, making that green space to where now people want to come, and so the guy across the street says, hey, I want to match that. I kind of want to fix, my place up a little bit to look a little bit nicer. It's this domino effect. Now you've got people
Right.
wanting to come, back into, downtown, mid-city,
Right.
Baton Rouge. Makes a world of a difference.
And I think that once we do that and we can create some, north-south, and I mean that geographically in terms of Florida, it's very difficult to cross Florida if you're walking or riding your bicycle. But what we want to do there is create this environment where you start to have the circulation north-south, because part of this healing process and part of what we're attempting to do, which is create a space, create a place where people meet. It's driven by urban design. I mean, we can say all we want to say about north-south, but until we break down the barrier, the effective physical barrier is there. So you have to break that down to be able to have that connectivity, so that what you were talking about before, which is how do you then bring and stop talking about north-south? Well, the way to do that is to eliminate, and the line of demarcation is Florida, and so it's not eliminating Florida; it's redesigning Florida with an eye toward a different city, a different place. And once you do that, then people will follow, and then the rest will be history. And I am convinced that we will do that with the help of the mayor and the help of all the key stakeholders to turn that area into something that everybody in Baton Rouge is going to be proud of. And it is a lot of, there are a lot of key stakeholders there. There's a lot of healthcare happening there, but you also have institutions like Baton Rouge Community College. And how we begin to kind of integrate Baton Rouge Community College, which is at one end of sort of the mid-city area where we are, and how do we begin to work together with them, will be a step in that direction. And so I know that Chancellor Smith, and if you haven't interviewed him, I would suggest that you do, because he has a really, really good vision about what Baton Rouge Community College will be over the next couple of years. So he's in the process of figuring out ways to add to his campus in terms of a nursing school. And obviously, I love the fact that is going to be built at Mid-City, because then we'll have an opportunity to work with him on the clinical programming for his nursing students. We also have a nursing school, a diploma school at Mid-City, and a 4-year degree school at Mid-City. So then you begin to think of all the connectivity between Baton Rouge Community College and the Mid-City campus, and that will be a big plus. Across from Florida is a Bridge Center. And that is also something that the Mayor Broom and others were very instrumental in bringing to this community, which is, how do we deal with some of this behavioral health, mental health crisis that people go through? And so that will be directly across our hospital. And we have a strong behavioral health component and clinical program at Mid-City. So you begin to see that connectivity there. We also have a lot of clinics in the area. Again, I mean, all of that will begin to work together, and all of a sudden we will have, in essence, a medical corridor, a medical district that will be very, very vibrant. And if you add to this sort of the mixed use component of the vision that the planners and designers have, I think, I really don't, I think that it's going to be as good or better than what's happened in Government Street. And once you have government and you got Florida, then all of a sudden you can begin to get Acadian, to transform, and next thing you know, it'll be an unstoppable sort of a flywheel that we began to move. And I am convinced that we're not going to recognize that area of town in 10 years.
It's funny you mentioned the flywheel, and I'm wondering if it's because that's where I was kind of going. The reference of the flywheel in the book Good to Great. Once you kind of get it moving, it's on its own. It's just we got to get enough inertia to get it moving.
Exactly.
And it's moving, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. So,
And we also have done things like we just got the walls a project involved. So now they painted a mural, and if you haven't seen it, we ought to send you a picture so you can post it or add it to the podcast later. But they painted one of the murals in the front of our emergency room. So it's also about how do we get the artists and others involved in what we're trying to do, and that's a small first step in kind of the Mid-City campus kind of opening up to the folks in the in the area, including the artist community.
I can tell you, not jumping, but I did want to. You guys still have is the burn unit still there in the Mid City? Or
No, the burn unit, the burn center was moved to Bluebonnet about 5 years ago when we closed the emergency room, and we just finished a major multi-million-dollar renovation of the burn center here at Bluebonnet. We got a separate rooftop garden for those patients. They spend a lot of time in the hospital, so their reintroduction to society is traumatic too. They look different. They have different emotions now about themselves and about how they look, and so being able to offer them a place where they can slowly come to terms with what they've gone through is very important. So that's why we have that rooftop garden here, and obviously we have state-of-the-art equipment and brooms and so forth, in addition to all the clinical staff. So that is currently at Bluebonnet.
So because that's not, I don't know if I bring it up as kind of off script, so I'm catching you off, that of the blue, but that's not just a little local, Baton Rouge thing that we have. If I remember, that's a regional, and that what's the official?
Yeah, we're the only verified, to my knowledge, the only verified regional bird center in the state. So indeed, we were the first in the state to be built. We were number 14 in the nation when this was created back in the 70s.
I remember. We've got a lot of families that watch, and I tell people this story all the time. I actually went when someone had given me a tour when it was at Mid-City. So I guess this is more than 5 years ago. I had gone, but one of the things that they expressed to me, and it just stuck with me. And I tell the story at least probably once every 90 days to a friend or somebody, that they were talking to one of the nurses or somebody told me in the burn unit that it is unfortunately so common that the children that will be in the burn unit they will be like microwaving like a ramen noodle or something of that nature. And they reach up to grab it and they pull it and it gets hot and then it'll fall on, but it's like, it happens so much that people don't realize.
Yes.
It's kids coming home after school and parents saying, "No, just go make some ramen."
It's pretty amazing because it's everything from, we've got, patients that, they're elderly, they're in the bathtub and they fall, and by accident they turn the hot water on, and next thing they wake up and they're burned. That happens. It's when it gets really cold. Some of these older homes, the electrical system is not able to withstand the load that some of these space heaters require, and so there's a short circuit at night, and next thing you know, the house is burning. And so we tend to think of maybe industrial accidents, which do happen every now and then, but now that industry has such a much better record of safety than they used to have in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. But I would say the great majority of our victims are regular household, victims from the whole state.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to bring that up, make sure that everybody knew you guys still had that and some of the things that you got going on. So it sounds like you got your hands full, over there with, everything.
I know this is only 17 minutes long or 20 minutes long, but there's so much that we could discuss. And just one more thing. One of the last things that we have done is we have this robotic center of excellence that we've created with some of the top robotic surgeons in the state. And that has taken off and is really, really, taking sort of traditional surgery to a whole new level. And so I think we've added our third or fourth robot. It's really robot assisted surgery. The surgeon is in a console, and the robot is over here, and they're connected. And so the surgeon is able to see 3D in augmented real time what's happening inside the body when he's manipulating all the little instruments that go inside the person to do this. And then, of course, the length of stay is a lot lower, blood loss is a lot lower, infection rates are lower, scarring, of course, is a lot less. And so we are very, very, very excited about that too. And I know our surgeons and patients will be very happy with the program.
And so to dive into that just for a little bit, that's not necessarily, the surgeon's there, robots assisting, everybody's still in the same room, but
yeah,
I talked with somebody else the other day in the medical field, and they were saying, you have to basically, forget the COVID, for right now, but even just in a regular year of, medicine, somebody in your position, or you have to continually change, because the stuff that you're doing now, you weren't doing a year ago. It's new drugs, it's new equipment, it's new robots, it's new, this, like every time you turn around, it's something, that's innovative, and you got to be able to implement it, but be safe at the same time,
exactly
that balance.
It's a balance of analyzing when is the right time to jump into a particular technology, and it requires simply a lot of listening to clinicians who could tell you, yeah, maybe you should wait a year, or no, let's get it right away. And so the relationship between people like myself and other people in the senior management team and the clinical component, the physicians, is essential in bringing these programs to the public at the right time, not too close to let's call it the bleeding edge, but not too far behind either. And there's a balance for a hospital like ours. We're not a research hospital where these technologies are being first tested, but we're in general a very fast adapter and adopter of these technologies.
Wow, I definitely would not want to be in your shoes, having to keep up with that. So, look, I appreciate everything you guys have done. I think it's amazing. I'd love to have you come back. I'd love to find out more about robots. That's I'm a tech guy through and through, so it gets exciting, and it seems like that's kind of the direction that a lot of this stuff is moving. In minimal invasive, trying not to be, no more slicing, and kind of let's just go explore. It's not the wild west anymore.
Exactly. Good. Well, I'd love to visit with you again and your audience and your listeners. So thank you so much for inviting me, and appreciate the work that you do in getting the word out. And I thank all your listeners for listening. And if there's a place for them to react, ask questions, or give feedback, I'd love to listen to that, and then I'll be able to come back sometime in the future.
Absolutely. Well, I tell everybody you got more important people to talk to than me, so I'll let you get back to those people, and we'll talk again very soon.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.